What is up, car addicts? In this video, I'll be talking about this week's Triple Money Event Week, as well as the newest additions and discounts as well. This event week is for September 15th through September 21st, 2022. So for new content this week, unfortunately, no drip feed car released this week again, which is really unfortunate. The same thing happened again last week, so I'm not sure what's going on with Rockstar. Now, they have skipped some weeks for drip feed in past DLCs, but from what I can remember, never 2 weeks in a row. Definitely very unusual. However, we did receive 6 new deathmatch modes this week, and those are available in the Rockstar creator as well. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I played a deathmatch personally, but I guess we'll see how the community engages in this week. Also, according to Rockstar, eCola has officially won the Sprunk versus eCola events, which is definitely a bit of a shock to me. And lastly, they've also added a new community jobs section, which is basically Rockstar's new take on verified jobs. But anyways, the current prize ride for this week is the Vagrant. This car is primarily based on the Aerial Nomad, as a normal price of about $2.2 million. And a trade price of about $1.6 million. To get this car for free, you have to place top 1, meaning first place, in a street series race for 4 days in a row. Now, 4 days in a row is a bit ridiculous to me. I know most players can't really dedicate that many days in a row to get online. I feel like it should really be capped at 3 days in a row, but that's just my opinion, obviously. Anyways, in terms of performance, the Vagrant is in the off-roads class and used to be the quickest in that class until the Drogger came along and dethroned it. But overall, the Vagrant is still a really fun and quick off-roader to own. In terms of the test ride vehicles for this week, we have the Silvestra, the Comet SR, and the Ardent as well. And for next-gen console players, we have the Vest 8 as the HSW test ride vehicle for this week. Now, in terms of the casino podium vehicle, we have the Tempesta. This car is primarily based on the Lamborghini Huracan, mixed with the Lotus Esprit concept as well. It has a normal price of about $1.3 million. In terms of performance, this car is in the supercar class and has great acceleration and handling as well, but it does lack a bit in terms of top speed compared to other supercars in the class, and because of that, it's around 20th place for most tracks. In terms of dealership cars for this week, for luxury autos, we have the SM722 and the Tesseract as well. And for Simians, we have the Vito Modern, the Peyote Gasser, the Hellion, the Issy Sport, and the Omnis as well. So moving on to discounts, starting with the property discounts, we have 50% off the CEO offices, plus 40% off the upgrades and renovations for it as well. Continuing, we have 40% off the CEO crate warehouses, which is great. Next up, the green and red tint upgrades for the auto shop property are free this week, which is pretty cool. And lastly, for the yacht, the green and pink vivacious lighting upgrades are free this week, and the Mariner and Merchant color upgrades for it are free this week as well. So kind of that red and green, I guess, Sprunk versus eCola thing going on there, which is kind of cool. Moving on to vehicle discounts, we have 30% off the Tesseract. So this car is in the supercar class and is of course an electric car and used to have the highest top speed out of all the electric cars in game until the HSW Cyclone 2 came along on next gen, but obviously if you're on old gen, the Tesseract still remains to be the king of that electric top speed. Also, for those of you who don't know, the Tesseract is unaffected by catch-up in races, which is pretty interesting. Next up, we have 40% off the Comet SR. So this car is in the sports class and is actually in top 10 for track performance in that class, which is very impressive, even beating out the Comet S2. However, the Comet S2 does offer a lot more customization and looks a lot more realistic as well, but the SR is still the faster car. Moving along, we have 40% off the Silvestra. So this vehicle is in the Sports Classics class and is pretty quick, being around 12th place for most tracks, but it's still pretty difficult to drive, so keep that in mind. Moving on to the Summer San Andreas website, we have 50% off the Asbo. So this car is in the compacts class and is one of the slowest in that class, not surprisingly, but it's still a really unique car with its crazy customization options and of course meme potential. Next up we have 50% off the Issy Sport. So this car is in the sports class and is arguably the best handling car out of all the cars in that class. Plus it's also the fastest one for rally style off-road sports car races. So I highly recommend getting this one this week if you don't own it. Moving along, we have 75% off the BF400. So this is still one of the fastest bikes that is usable in off-road races and even beats out the Drager on most off-road tracks. If you're looking for a budget off-road race king, this is definitely the one you want to get. Moving on to the Warstock website, we have 40% off the Ardent. So this vehicle is in the Sports Classics class, however it cannot be used in races. Now a while ago, Rockstar made the stock version of the Ardent usable in races, however you still can't race the custom version of it in races, which honestly is really stupid, and it's a shame because it's actually a pretty competitive car in that class, and in terms of special abilities, other than the machine guns out front, it has nothing else. So again, there's no reason why the custom variant shouldn't be usable in races, as there's plenty of other cars with machine guns out front that are usable in races. Next up, we have 30% off the Armored Boxville, which is quite random. I personally find this vehicle pretty useless overall, plus you do need to own a special vehicle warehouse in order to even buy it, so definitely recommend skipping out on this one this week. Moving on to the Benny's website, the conversion cost for the Comet, which turns it into the Comet Retro Custom, is 40% off this week, which is awesome. That brings that custom conversion cost down to only $387,000, which is a pretty solid deal. In terms of unlocks, you can get this eCola forwards cap, the eCola varsity jacket, and the eCola parachute. Again, celebrating that eCola did in fact win the event. In terms of triple money, we have triple money NRP on the Hot Ring Circuit races, which again is repeating this entire month. In terms of double money, we have double money NRP on stunt races from the new community job section this week, which is pretty interesting, I guess. And that's it for double and triple money this week. Not really anything that great. That's a bit unfortunate, especially since we didn't get a drip feed car this week. But anyways, moving on to the Prime Gaming discounts for Prime Gaming members only. So again, same as usual. The only thing we have is the usual free $125,000 for logging in during the event week period. And lastly, this week's RC Bandito time trial is Construction Site 1. This week's normal time trial is Del Perro Pier. I highly recommend a fast bike such as the Hakachu Drag, Shotaro, or Batty 801 for this time trial. In terms of the premium race this week, we have the Supercar Race Business Trip. I highly recommend either the Emerus, Krieger, or the Vest 8 for that race. And if you're on next gen, I highly recommend using either the HSW the Vest 8 or the HSW Weaponized Ignis. And lastly, for next gen console users, the HSW time trial is Del Perro Beach. As always, the HSW Hakachu Drag will be the best one for these. In terms of my vehicle discount pick of the week, I'm gonna have to go with the Issy Sport at 50% off for arguably the best handling car in the sports class and also the best car for rally races as well. This is an insanely good deal on this car at half price. Plus the car also offers tons of customization as well. I'd say the only real negative on this car is probably the strange wheel fitment, but other than that, it's an overall really good car. Anyways guys, hope this was helpful. Overall, this event week really isn't all that great. I think its only saving grace is that the vehicle discounts are pretty good, but the double and triple money are pretty lackluster. No new drip feed car this week. I guess the deathmatch thing is kind of cool, but yeah, overall, not that great of an event week if I'm being honest, at least in my opinion. Now, obviously, event weeks will get better as time goes on, especially once the drip feed cars end, which is taking forever now with the weeks Rockstar has skipped, but hopefully we get a new car next week. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.